Hey guys, how's it going? Azul here. Today I am doing something different than what you normally probably seen on my channel. I'm doing a set review of the new set, um, Celestial Storm. So this is the complete English set list that we will be getting in pre-releases soon here, actually in like a week or so. Um, so I thought, so I've done this before live on my stream. If you want to check out my stream? It's in the description below. Um, and I thought I would just go ahead and go over. I'm gonna go over the cards on like a competitive standpoint, like how good, what I think they could work with, how good they are, just kind of as a card in the competitive on a competitive level, um, and then just like kind of like the raw power of the cards on a competitive level. So I'll be skipping over a lot of the stuff like your Bell Sprouts and your Weeping Bells. But I'll talk about some of the bigger cards. Maybe I don't know. I'll read Victory Bell. See if I think it has any potential. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get into it. So Bellsprout, nothing. Weeping Bell, nothing. Victory Bell. Choose your opponent's Pokemon, switch with your opponent's active Pokemon. So actually, could be kind of cool as a 101 tech in decks that like already play Rare Candy, or a 1-1 tech in decks that can kind of fit it and have a lot of search power in their deck and can kind of set it up and over like the first 4 to 5 turns in the play. So this card actually isn't terrible as like a tech line in the deck. Um, I don't think it'll be good until after rotation, though. I don't think this will be good for the Worlds format coming up. But this card actually has potential. If the format is slow enough to allow like 1-1 lines or 1-on-1 lines, to the point where like if you get it out, you still have plenty of turns left to get potential use out of it. So this card actually has potential. I don't think for Worlds format, but I think post Worlds or after Worlds, it's definitely possible that this card could be played. Scyther. So it's like the attack is actually the first attack is actually very good, as long as Scizor is good. We'll get to that in a little bit. Also, agility is good. Like both these attacks are actually very good on a basic Pokemon, as long as it's the rest of the evolution line is viable. Once such Pokemon, so if they're active, you do the new active Pokemon is now sleep and poisoned. It's not very good from the Ariados. Oh, it's literally the old Ariados. Back when Flariados was a deck. I didn't play back then, but I know about that deck. So it's actually possible this card could be good. I don't think there's enough stuff to combo with its ability or with its first attack right now, but it's possible later on. Maybe an expanded potentially with the Hypnotoxic Laser. I doubt it though. It's just kind of too weak, 70 HP. It doesn't put out it doesn't put out enough damage to really keep up, I don't think. Trico, same thing. So we're skipping through these guys. They don't even have useful attacks. I mean, that one's okay actually. Your opponent's now actually now poison asleep. So actually, this Trico's attack is very good too. That's super annoying early on. Sceptile, each of your Pokemon with grass energy. Attach receives no damage from your opponent's attacks from your opponent's Ultra Beasts. So that's pretty good. So I think it's actually possible this card could be played in some kind of lock deck, like a Sceptile lock deck. I don't know, like Sceptile Hoopa or something. I don't know. It's possible Sceptile could be played, because it does just say Ultra Beasts don't hurt it, which is a pretty good ability. It's just it's on a stage 2, and its attack isn't very good. It's okay. The attack's actually okay because it affects all your Pokemon in play. So it's possible we see this card be played, like just as an anti what's it called? Anti Ultra Beast card. You just beat Ultra Beasts. Any deck that is super heavy on Ultra Beasts, this card can beat. So that it's possible this card's viable. Probably not. Maybe once again post rotation, or post Worlds meta, whatever. Post rotation. That's the right. That's the right phrase I'm looking for. Sceptile could definitely see some play. Seedot, same thing. Seedot, Nuzleaf. All right, that clear out's pretty good. Like that's actually a pretty good attack for a stage 1. Use a supporter you find there, and your opponent shoves that into there. You can actually just catch them with one supporter and put them on dead draw with that. That's pretty good. So Shift Trees. This is a card I've known about for a little bit, or I've known what it does for a little bit. This is not the first time I've seen this card. I think it's okay. It has potential. I think it's just kind of too slow. The 2 energy on a stage deck. If it was 2 grass, it would be better. But it's grass DCE to pull off extra sensory. That's just kind of a big requirement when the Enhanced Hammer's a card in the format. So maybe once again, post rotation, I feel like this card definitely has a lot more potential. Potentially it's okay right now, but I don't think it quite sits. I don't think it can keep up with decks like Zork and stuff that play enhanced stammer that are more aggressive. And sure, you can one-shot Zorks once you set up, but by the time you get there, they can just two-shot you and they don't really care, I feel like. And you get to the same number of cards in your hand. So I know we're getting Copycat, we have Judge, but you pretty much have to play that as your draw supporter on that turn 100% of the time, which means when it gets into the late game and they end you, it's going to be hard to find exactly that one of, or that specific draw supporter that you need. So once again, he has potential. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually became good for Worlds. I doubt it. I think post-rotation he has a lot more potential, though, to kind of be a viable deck. Let's see. Mascarene, meh. Used sight during your opponent's last turn. This attack is 100 more damage. Alright, so that's no good. It's cute. It's not good, though. And it's damage by attack if this Pokemon is locked out. The attacking Pokemon is now poisoned. Good ability, but let's see how good Cacturn is. That's right, attack. Same ability. Poison payback. Pokemon. Okay, this is just bad. Okay, so Cacturn's bad. Pokemon, reveal them, put them in the end, and shuffle your deck. So Tropius could be good. I don't actually know if we still have. I mean, it's just kind of like, it's almost not a worse Vulpix because it's tankier, but it takes an energy to attack, which makes Vulpix better because you can kind of like retreat your active and then go to Vulpix, use Vulpix attack for free. So yeah, just a worse Vulpix, but I don't know if we have Vulpix for. I don't know if we have Vulpix for after rotation. So he might be a better option. I'm pretty sure we do still have Vulpix, but I'm actually not sure. Let's see. Macargo, a lot of people. So this card's been getting a lot of hype, even going into the Worlds format. And I actually don't think it's very good for Worlds. I think it might be good post-rotation. So Macargo, once on your turn, you may search your deck for a card, shuffle your deck, then place that card on top. So a lot of people are talking about this card. You know, combo. Obviously, it can combo with Zoroark. You put card on top of your deck, then you trade into it, right? I'm not really sold on this card like it seems other people are. I don't think it's very good at all. I don't know where you're finding the bench space when the meta is very parallel city centric as like a very popular stadium. Everyone's trying to parallel city war. So I'm not a big fan of this card. It's all right. Maybe like post rotation once again. Like a lot of these cards are going to be a lot stronger post rotation. So it's harder for me to comment too much on them what they're playable with. Because right now I don't think this is obviously has playability with Zoroark and also Ludicolo, which is in this set. But for Worlds format, I don't think it can quite get there. Post rotation though, I think it has potential. Let's see. Blaziken GX. I actually really like this card, but once again, it's a stage 2, so it's kind of slow. So once again, I think we're looking at post rotation for this set to be powerful. I think going into the Worlds format, it's not going to be strong enough unless I know in Japan there was a deck where this card was comboed with Ho-Oh, and you used Ho-Oh to put a bunch of Blazikens in play. So that actually I think could have potential to work. How good it actually is, I don't know. Recanting it up just seems like it's probably too slow. But once you get there, the damage is high. 210, you pretty much one-shot everything in the format. I think the real problem is just getting the energy back. We don't really have any fire energy acceleration that I can think of right now that kind of can keep this guy going turn to turn. I mean, we have Baby Volcanion, but that's like the early game. Once you attack with it, it's hard to like attack with it again. I'm trying to say here. So once again, I think we're looking at post rotation for this guy to be played. Don't think he quite cuts it right now. Oracle. Like, yeah. Takes a DCE though, so Baby Volcano I think is probably just a little bit better. This card's a top 4, so it's not great. You'd have to play with like Macargo or something to set that up. Mallow. That's actually a pretty good attack for 1 energy. Just that. They're burned and confused. That's actually very good. Alluring Salsa. Yeah, that's actually a very good attack. So actually, this card could actually see play. Once again, probably not strong enough for Worlds format, but post rotation, I can see this card being good. You move all water energy. This is another card I've seen before, but I don't think it's very good just because you don't have a good attack. Like you move all the water energy to it. There's some probably combo or reason to play this. But I don't think it would be like a 4 of deck where it's kind of like Articuno GX the deck, and you just kind of switch between them, and like your damage one goes to the bench, your active one has the energy now, so you're like you know. So I don't think that's gonna be the way you'd ever play this card, but it's possible you'd play this card with other stuff like Kingdra GX or something, and then you would come in and then take the energy off a damaged Kingdra, and then all of a sudden you have to deal with an Articuno that's hitting you. So something like that could be cool. Let's see, deck for up to 3. He's also his GX deck is kind of cool. It's almost like a better Tapu Storm from Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini would shuffle the Pokemon and all energy into the deck, and the reason you generally Tapu Fini something is because it has a lot of energy on it. So this would just discard the energy, so they no longer have access to the energy. So actually, this card kind of becomes a better Tapu Fini. The only thing is it has 2 retreat costs instead of 1. So that's why you'd still choose between Tapu Fini or Articuno. Like in a Greninja deck, you'd still play Tapu Fini if you wanted that kind of effect going on. But in other decks where you play switch cards, Guzma's even to move it out of the active, you could play this instead to discard all the energy, so they have no longer get access to it. So I do kind of like this Articuno for that. See these small boys, not very good. You discard a card from your hand, then draw 3 cards. So it's got a nice ability. But it needs it for each water energy attached to this Pokemon, so I don't think this card is really going to be going anywhere. It's got a nice draw power in it, but the attack just isn't great. Because it's a stage 2, to make stage 2s work in the way Pokemon is kind of functioning right now, you need to kind of base your whole deck around the stage 2 line. It's really hard to fit one of lines, like a 1-1-1 line, a 1-0-1 line, a 2-2-2 line, or 2-1-2 line, generally not a 2-2-2 in your deck, and have it like be consistent. So he would have to kind of be the deck, and then his attack just isn't good enough to keep up with anything, I feel like. So Swampert gets a big thumbs down from me. All right, we got the Lotad boy. The decent. That's what I like. They're giving these basic Pokemon like decent turn 1 attacks. Like this is decent actually. Choose a random card from opponent's hand without looking at your opponent, reveals the card and then shuffles it back to the deck. That's actually a decent attack for a basic Pokemon that's going to go into a stage 2. We got Lombre. Attached to it, which has a 0. Cool ability. Attack's not very good, but we got the decent attack on the Lotad. That's all that matters. And then we have the Ludicolo. Once in your turn, you may draw a card, and then for colorless effect does 10 more damage for each Pokemon in play, excluding this Pokemon. Oh, that's unfortunate. So you max out at what? 180? 10 with choice. 140 HP is kind of like, you want to at least be able to make it so Zoroark doesn't one-shot you, so that's nice. But for Water DCE, he's kind of slow. Once again, more potential in post-rotation format. Obviously, combos with Macargo. This is like the old Ludicargo deck that actually was a deck. I don't know, quite a few years ago. So this was like actually a deck quite a few years ago. These cards are pretty much the same things that were printed back then. But yeah, the high energy card, like if it was water, that'd be better. You could just combo with Aqua Patch, and you could actually like get going through that. But now you need a water plus a DCE every time. It's kind of slow. Once again, it's hard to predict how slow the meta will be post rotation, but it's possible it's slow enough for decks like this to actually thrive. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. I think it's definitely possible this deck could work post rotation, but pre rotation, where everything's super fast, super aggressive, we still have Parallel City. Like just thinking about Parallel City, your opponent could Parallel City themselves to 3 bench and then reduce your damage by 20. So you're doing like nothing. You're doing like no damage as Ludicolo. So not yet, but he might have his time eventually. Wellmore, Whale Lord, yeah, same stuff. A lot of HP, but not very good attacks as always. Clamper can evolve during your first turn. Okay, so that's something to look at. Not very good. More damage, so that's pretty good, but it takes a water DCE, so it kind of defeats the whole purpose of like evolving immediately, because you can't attach twice in 1 turn by evolution Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. So this card's cool. And it's like possibly viable once again in some kind of like lock deck, where the meta is just all evolution Pokemon, and I don't know. This might work. I mean, Lele is still a card, so that's always hard to like make work. But it has potential in some kind of lock deck eventually. Probably wouldn't see it happen for a while though. your opponent's bench Pokemon and play them onto your bench. So kind of cool, but it needs your opponent to already have a bench, so not great. Also, it's kind of just like a worse Vulpix. Once again, I'm sure Vulpix is still around. Actually, when your opponent can't play any stadium cards, they're in. This is cool. And actually, the reason I kind of like this card is you can like lock out another card we're gonna look at soon. Forbidden Shrine. Forbidden Shrine says once in between turns, every EX and GX Pokemon in play take 10 damage. So you can just kind of send him up and lock Forbidden Shrine in play. I mean, sure, they could still Field Blower, but like if you get them to a spot where like they have to replace it with a stadium, you think, and then you're just like, okay, put Forbidden Shrine in play, send up Regice, and just chill. That's pretty cool. I actually kind of like this card. Because there's potential with that. Can't think of anything else that really works well with, but yeah, Forbidden Shrine for sure. This thing could have used. And the attack's not great. You probably never attack with it, but he's just there to just you play down Forbidden Shrine, send up Regice, pass, and then you make it hard for them to replace the stadium. Two of your opponent's Pokemon, not great for water colorless. If it was like one water or one DCE, that'd be good, but for water colorless is not very good. Also 0. Here's another card that has been getting quite a bit of hype. Once again, I personally don't think it's that great. It's interesting. I think it has potential. I just don't know what you'd put the energy on. Once your turn before you attack, you may discard this Pokemon and all cards attached to it. This counts as knocking out this Pokemon. If you do, search your deck for discard pile for 5 energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like, excluding Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX. So you can only put it on basic Pokemon. What I've personally theoried up is maybe with Baby Buzzwole. You could put like 4, like you could, be playing out the game with Baby Buzzwoles, and then at some point, you get into the swing around range, and you're swinging around, and then you go, blow this Electrode up, put 4 strong energy on a Baby Buzzwole, and then swing for a bunch with swing around. I haven't really come up with any other cards personally that this kind of works well enough with. I actually just don't think it's very good. It's like, yeah, it's just not very good, I don't think. It's just too much. They draw 2 prizes. If they drew 1 prize, it'd be different, but they draw 2 prizes, so you kind of like lose a lot for what you get out of it. You don't get enough to make it worth playing. So look, Crush and Burn GX. So actually, his GX attack is like decent. His GX attack is decent. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the. Don't think you get enough out of it. I don't think there's just like anything potentially good enough to put the energy on to like get the value that you need from it. Cool card, but I don't think it's quite good enough. I don't even think in post rotation it'll be good enough. I might be wrong on that, but I just don't think this card. It'll probably find a partner in like a decent deck, but I don't think it'll ever be like in a tier 1 deck or anything like that. Sure, one of your Pokemon is knocked over from opponent's deck. Choose this Pokemon. You may discard all. That's like okay. Not great though. It's cool though. It's like an ability E gain or an ability EXP share. So that's cool. You could play it in like a Rayquaza deck, I guess, as a backup attacker. It'll just keep soaking up lightning energy. So that's kind of cool. Like a Rayquaza gets knocked out and it retains the energy in play, and you can potentially attack with it. Most importantly, I guess, is that it retains the energy in play as an ability and not a tool. So get Field Blowered. Still get shut off by Ability Lock Garb, but that's like kind of your matchup is based around dealing with Ability Lock Garb anyways. And I don't think those matchups are very good for Rayquaza anyway. So if those are just losses anyways, then you use this in the matchups that are not those matchups and actually could be pretty useful in retaining energy in play. So it's actually possible this Lantern is actually good. Like as a 1/1 in Rayquaza decks, but I don't know how. I've not done any testing with Rayquaza decks, so I don't know how easy it is to like kind of search stuff out and get stuff in play before you discard it. So I don't know if this would just get discarded and you'd rather play just like, I don't know, like it's an extra super route or something just to retain other stuff in the Rayquaza deck. Manectric, really good if you go second and you have this card in your hand. Otherwise, it's not as good, I don't think. I think it has potential. Its attack is just really good. It has 0 tree cost, which is also really good. Kind of got like a Talonflame situation, but not even as good as Talonflame, I guess, because Talonflame can be put down even if you go first. This one is only if you go second. So this card is probably not great. There's too many requirements to make it good. You could get cheeky and play like it as a 1/of. You could play like a 1/1 line actually. That would be like interesting. And then if you get, if you just have them when you go second, well, just get to put him down, and that's great. Put him in like a 1/1 line, maybe in a Rayquaza deck. Maybe he is your odd prize attacker. And you get the potential of the, because the attack's pretty good in Rayquaza. You get 2 basic energy, put him on one of your bench Pokemon. You know, gets basic. He'd be cute as like a 1/1 in a Rayquaza deck. And then if you just have him in your hand when you go second, excuse me, then you just get the bonus of just putting him in play immediately, which is great. Plusle. Not very good. You discard a card from your hand, draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. It's okay. This card, I am actually a big fan of this card. I remember reading it initially, and then I rediscovered it a couple days ago because I completely forgot about it. But it's basically just, I mean, it's not a better Tapu Koko because it doesn't hit everything, but it's a super good card. I'm a big fan of this card. 30 damage to each Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX in play for 1 lightning energy. That's so good. And the reason I like him so much is because my favorite card out of the set is definitely Forbidden, or Shrine of Punishment. I don't even remember what the Forbidden Shrine of Punishment, something like that, where it does the 10 damage to GX and EXs in between turns. So comboed with this card, he does another spread of 30 damage for 1 lightning energy. Like, you don't even invest that much into it. It's 30 to all your opponents, or to each EX and GX. So it would even hit yours, but ideally in a deck with this card and Forbidden Shrine, you don't play EXs and GXs besides maybe like 1 Tapu Lele. So I'm a big fan of this card. I really like this card. I actually just think it's super powerful. That's like a lot of damage for 1 lightning energy, potentially. And it combos very well with the Shrine. Mr. Mime GX. I think he actually has potential in matchups where your opponent can just like kind of only hit even damage. You just put him out there eventually, and he can just do work. I don't know what matchups those would be off the top of my head, but I think he definitely has potential. If a deck just struggles with a matchup and it's like, oh wait, they only hit even damage unless they want to like do 30 on their turn or something. Like if they want to, you know, spend their turn doing 30 damage to me, then I'll be fine with that. I'll sit here and maybe do 40 to 50 wherever I want with the breakdown. So I think Mr. Mime has potential, and it's just he'll just be very matchup based. I don't think you can I don't think you can make a deck around him, because I think there's many decks that can kind of hit odd numbers of damage. But I think you could play him as like a one of Tekken decks where like you have like a rough matchup, but they only hit for even damage with anything relevant. And so if they want to hit odd damage through in like 30 or 50, or okay, put Mr. Mime in there, and then I can just use Mr. Mime aggressively or in the late game once they like run out of options to get around it. Attack during your opponent's next turn. Not very good. Players fire Pokemon, right? R is fire. R is fire. Excluding GX and EX has no abilities. I don't know where this would come into play. This has potential to do something, but I doubt it. It takes up 2. You need both of them. The Soul Rock and the Lunatone in play. So that's like a lot you're investing into your bench to stop non-GX, non-EX Pokemon from having abilities. Only fire Pokemon. I don't know where that would come up. It's possible. You know, some matchup for some decks, they're like, oh, well, they got a lot of basic Pokemon or non-GX, non-EX fire Pokemon with abilities. I need to stop those. That's possible. I can't even think of any off the top of my head, though, so I don't know. Is it only basic or is it all fire? Each player's okay. So this card, now we're getting to Beignet. I don't think these guys do anything really. Opponent's active is confused. Nothing much there. The non-GX Beignet is actually super cool. Basically has Target Whistle as an ability. When you bring him into play, put a Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto the bench, which can be really cool depending on what you play him with or what kind of strategy for a matchup you're trying to build with him. Put Pokemon in play, put them in damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon anyway. Like, oh, so that's pretty cool too with the it combos with the attack, which is cool. But at GX, once again, I don't think he quite cuts it going into Worlds. Because he's weak to Dark, and Zoroark's pretty popular right now, so I don't think he can handle Zoroark very well. He's very good against Buzzwole, I think, though. Fighting resistance, and he pretty much one-shots him whenever he wants. That's cool. But if he can't handle Zoroark, I feel like he's going to struggle quite a bit. The ability's cool. Once in your turn, you may move damage counter from any Pokemon to any Pokemon. So you can take it off your side, put it on their side. You can move one from their side to their side. You can even take one off their side, put it on your side. Like, I don't know, maybe Beignet EX is just trapped in the active. He has to be active, right? Yeah. And he has 10 HP left. So you take a damage from their side to your side, it KO, and you can send something else up. That's like super situational, but you know, potential. Beignet super cool. I actually really like Beignet. The ability, the attack. It does get capped, so you can do 130 max once you have 10 supporters total. It'll cap at 10 more. 10 more damage for each supporter. Yeah, so at 10 supporters in your discard pile, he kind of caps out. That's fine. I think he's a pretty cool card overall. I don't think he works. Once again, I think he's probably better post-rotation because I think there'll probably be less Zoroark in the meta. Zoroark loses a lot of its tools that kind of make it super powerful. So it's possible we see Zoroark fall. It's also possible Zoroark just remains a tier 1 deck and like has a massive threat no matter what. GX attack is good. Put 3 cards from each compound to your hand. Basically Hollow Hunt from Decidueye, but on Beignet. It's like super just useful GX attack. You're always going to be able to get value out of this, hopefully at some point in the game. Sometimes the game will be too aggressive. It'll be too slow of a GX attack. That'll happen. But there's always potential to use this as your GX attack. And then once again, yeah, the attack's good. The ability's good. Good against Buzzwole. I think this card's just good overall. And you can play, if you're already playing a GX line, a pretty thick GX line, so you're playing a 3-3 GX line, or you could go to a 3-2 and then you can play one of these guys. You know, gives them another discard pile, whatever. Yeah. Not a lot of potential, I think, going into Worlds just because of the weakness to Dark and Zoroark being so popular, but I think post-Worlds, he has potential for sure. This one's okay. This Deoxys, depending on what you're trying to hit with it, there's like potential for this card to do something relevant for damage. I can't think of anything off the top of my head currently, current format, current meta. You know, if a card gets a lot of energy and you play DC, maybe this is just a good answer to that. It's kind of oh, it's just Mewtwo, isn't it? This is just Evo Mewtwo, but it has 1 retreat cost, a different second attack, and 10 less HP. All right, so it's basically Evo Mewtwo on that. Not great. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Not great. Not great. Lunala. One has any second energy. 20 less damage from attacks for each energy. Once again, not great. I don't see this card ever being good. Go to the Dawn Fan. Not Rapid Spin. Not great. All right. Larvitar, Pupitar, Meditite, Medicham. Still, where are the good boys at? Or the stadium card. Groudon always out here. Groudon's always discarding stadium cards. Dude. What does he have against What does he have against stadium cards? You know, Groudon, Primal Groudon, discard stadium cards. This Groudon, discard stadium cards. Polosand, Palosand. I'm not gonna try past that. GX. Let's read this guy. 60 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is not confused. That's decent. Fighting DC. That's kind of a lot. 100 damage. Heal 20 from this Pokemon for fighting DC. And then his GX attack, 60 damage. Look at the top 13 cards of your opponent's like discard as many Pokemon as you find there as you like. This attack does 60 damage for each Pokemon you discard. Your opponent shuffles the remaining cards back. So that's actually like a really disruptive GX attack, but it's super expensive. It's a stage 1. And super expensive GX attack, stage 1, and then it has the potential to like not be disruptive enough to like just win you the game. So not good. Minior. Cards in your hand, you may. Wait. These cards in your hand, and you have bench room. You may play this card as your active Pokemon and move your old active to the bench. So you can just switch it to the active. Interesting. Once your turn, before if this card is in your hand, you have room on your bench. You may play this as your active Pokemon and move your old active to your bench. Huh, that's kind of cute actually. That might have some pretty good useful effects. Like it might just be a good card, potentially. That's actually pretty cool. I like that. I don't know quite off the top of my head where it would be good, what it would be good in. You could do some weird stuff where you can like set up Guzma plays. You know, you play him down, push your active, which is your attacker, to your bench, and then you can play Guzma, putting your active back active, and then matching it with whatever you want to swing into. If you don't have like any float stone or free retreaters or anything to retreat off your bench, you can reset attacks with it, I guess, too. Like play this down, reset an attack that says you can't use it next turn. We kind of already have Dawn Wings for that, but this isn't a GX. And it's not weak to Dark, which is pretty cool. It only got 90 HP, but it is only worth 1 prize. So Zoroark, if Zoroark took out this, it would draw 1 prize, but a Zoroark could also take out a Dawn Wings, draw 1 prize. Zoroark, I mean, Dawn Wings kind of does the same thing. It pushes Dawn Wings active, and you need a Float Stone or something to retreat it. So it do the same thing as Dawn Wings, but not worth 2 prizes and not weak to Dark. So I could definitely see some potential with this boy right here. It's at a good first attack. That's good to see. Or good attack on the basic. And then we got a Alolan Raticate GX. Discard up to 2 cards from your hand. This attack does 40 damage for each card you discard in this way. That's pretty good for a free attack, actually. Just kind of like the value trade-off of that attack is pretty good. Tails attack is nothing. Okay, the Hyper Fang sucks. Search your deck for up to 6 item cards. Reveal. Search your deck. Put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. Alright, this GX attack also sucks. Unfortunately, Alolan Raticate GX sucks. There's Sneasel. Alright, now we got to a T-Tar. First attack is terrible. 60 damage to that Pokemon. Second attack costs a ton. Weak to fighting. My man T-Tar is no good. Sableye. Ability is actually pretty cool. Look at the top card, and then you may discard it. Or you can keep it there. Which is just kind of cool. Might be useful. Probably not. But he has potential. It's just kind of cool to see them print. His attack is also just kind of good. You just choose one of the active Pokemon's attacks and they just can't use it next turn. So it's just good, especially like in a late game scenario. You can do like 40 with a choice band and then shut off their only relevant attack. So it's nice to just see these kind of cards printed from Pokemon. They are just kind of like, they're just kind of like, they just kind of have good stuff about them. Like the ability is like a useful, interesting ability that can be applied in some ways sometimes. And the attack, it also just is paired with a decent attack. Like the attack is just good. I mean, the card overall is not great, but it has 2 decent things in the ability and the attack on the same card. Now we get to Scizor GX. As long as the Pokemon remaining HP is 100 or less as the Pokemon's attack, do 80 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. I don't think this card is very good. It's Steel Wing attack. Excuse me. Steel Wing attack during your opponent's next turn. Any damage on this Pokemon is reduced by 30. It's okay. Crosscut GX 100 if the opponent is an evolved Pokemon. This attack does 100 more damage. It's actually pretty good, but it is a GX attack. So you can only do that once. Yeah, so it is a GX attack, so you can only do it once. So it's not great. You get that off once a game, obviously, GX attack. I guess looking at numbers for how this card could fit in, if it is, that does have a less than 100 HP, 100 or less. It does hit for 180, which means the choice band it one-shots a Zoroark, which is cool, I guess. But like Zoroark deck, if you're two-shotting back and forth with a Zoroark deck, you're usually going to lose. If you're not a Zoroark deck, I don't think this deck would play Zoroark as well. So yeah, the card is okay. I just don't see how it ever fit as being like tier 1. Some kind of weird deck with like this plus Metal Frying Pan could be good, I guess. You just reduce 60 damage every time you take damage. That's pretty good, actually. And then you take like way less damage. But they can also like play around your 100 HP or less, and they could hit you for 100 damage. If they hit you for 100 damage, you have 110 HP left. And then you're not getting your bonus damage. You swing, and then they go, okay, now I'm going to do my enough extra damage to get over that, and I'm just going to knock you out. So I don't think this card is great. It's okay, but yeah, I don't think it's... Once again, depending on what the meta looks like post-Worlds, it's got potential. Right now, I don't think it's going anywhere heading into Worlds. Cool card touch when your opponent wants said. This card actually, so I read this card the other day. I think this card could be cool potentially with Garbodor, ability to lock Garbodor. Probably not. But you can like do something like N and then attack with Mining Search, and then you just attach the tool to your ability to lock Garbodor if you're having trouble finding the tool. It only has 70 HP. That probably isn't enough. You probably just have to hit the tool off the N and then hope that's enough. But he's cool. I like him. He's cute. Beldum, Metang. And I know a lot of people like this card. I don't know why. It's a Metagross. That only does 60 damage. You can boost that with Choice Band and the other small Anchor Boy that does 10. Your Metal Pokemon do 10 more damage. I think maybe the real attraction for this card is the ability which says when you use the supporter Steven's decision, which would normally end your turn, it doesn't end your turn, which is maybe good, but like if they just Guzma around you, so like if you're trying to set up multiple Metagross and you know you set up your first one and you attack, they Guzma around it, it shuts off the bonus damage for your next turn. There, okay, I'm gonna hit for 60 again, and then they Guzma around it again, or they, I don't know, escape rope around it. I don't know, they could do anything, move it around, get this out of the active. They Bloodthirsty Eyes, move it out of the active, and they, you know, knock out a Metang this turn, or they just go hit your other Metagross. All of a sudden, you're damaged once again. You're back to doing 60 damage for your turn. The 170 HP is nice. That's pretty tanky. So I don't think this card has a ton of potential. Once again, right now, going into Worlds, post-rotation, it's definitely possible. It's really hard to kind of predict what is going to be good post-rotation, depending on how much the meta slows down. Speeds up, probably not going to speed up. Probably see a little bit slow down in the meta. It might be good, but we'll have to just kind of wait and see on that. I kind of just don't think too hard about post-rotation metas too far in advance. I kind of just, when they happen, and I worry about it then. Red Steel, not great. Jirachi, not great. Was way better when we thought we were going to get that other card that let us put Jirachi in our prizes, or that's what it did, right? Yeah, we would have like let us put Jirachi in our prizes or something, but that was like a Japanese only promo. And we find a 20-year Pokemon. Shuffle the other cards. So this is actually pretty good. Yeah, this is actually pretty good. The top 4 cards of your deck and attach any number of metal energy you find there to one of your Pokemon. Shuffle your deck. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. That's actually pretty good because it doesn't discard the cards. Usually, attacks like this discard the other cards, but this shuffles them back in. So this is, and it's on a tanky Heatran, 130 HP, 1 metal energy to pull off the attack. This card's pretty good. If there's any, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but any metal Pokemon that you're just trying to accelerate metal energy to, this card's actually super good. I actually really like this Heatran. I like him a lot. So Gallio has a metal energy. So we're finally getting the no weakness Gallio. Oh, if this Pokemon. Okay, it's not even the right one. Celesteela. I'm a big fan of this card. The attack cost initially looks too high, but if the total remaining prize cards between you and your opponent is 6, the attack is just a metal energy. So I actually really like this card. I'm a big fan of this card. You just kind of play it as a one-of in decks that play metal energy, and then if you both have 6, if the total prize cards is just 6 on your turn, you can just attack with this guy for 1 metal energy. Kartana, not great. Yeah, it takes 2 metal, and your opponent has to have 6 prize cards left, and he's got 60 HP, so he's just like dead on the next turn. And you committed 2 metal energy to him. No good. Kartana's bad. Stack Attacka. Once again, I think we're in a situation with Stacka where he's just basically just because of Perilous City, because it'll limit your bench and how many stacks you can have him actually viably keep in play. But I guess you could do something like Stack Attack, a Frying Pan, Celesteela, or just Metal Box deck in general could be okay. You just get a lot of damage reduction on stuff like Celesteelas and any other Metal Ultra Beasts you'd want to play. I don't think it's great though. It's quite there. It's a great ability, but I think because of Perilous City and the meta being a little bit too fast, I don't think for Worlds he's going to be great. I think, once again, post-rotation has potential. Metal Box decks, pretty much any Ultra Beast deck. You could even play him with, like, Buzzwole, obviously. So it's any Ultra Beast, your opponent's attack is reduced by 10. So any Ultra Beast deck, he can work in. Any deck with Ultra Beasts. So Buzzwoles, Celesteela, Duskmane. So definitely has a lot of potential. I guess you could have potential for Worlds. You could even play this as a one-of in like a Buzzwole deck. It could mess with your opponent's math a little bit on the Buzzwole knockouts. I actually kind of like him now. A little bit more. Now that I've been thinking about him a little bit more, I actually kind of like this card. As like a one-of in Buzzrock. Because a lot of people can get to the 130 damage to KO baby Buzzwoles. But if you put out a Stack Attacka, they can't do that anymore. They just can't KO baby Buzzwoles. I actually like this card. Yeah, he's actually now that I'm thinking about him, he's actually pretty good right now. I think put him in Buzzwole. Yeah, bag on, Shelgon, Salamence. After you may switch your opponent. Not great. So here, this guy's really good. Laddie here. Only can play one of them, of course, but 30 damage, attach a basic energy from your discard pile to each of your benched basic dragon Pokemon. So obvious combo with Rayquaza. In the mirror match, it's really gonna suck if you prize this and they don't, and you don't get off to a hot start. He's basically recovery for Rayquaza. That's basically it as of right now. Rayquaza right there. We're about to go talk about him. Just puts more energy in play to your Rayquazas. At some point, you can do it early game, you can do it mid game, you can do it late game, whenever you need the extra energy in play. Yeah, not much else he's good for, but very good with Rayquaza. This guy, Latios, kind of just sucks. Not good. He's good as an answer to if evolution dragon Pokemon become a thing, he's good, but that's not a thing right now. I don't think it's going to be a thing. Rayquaza GX. You play it from your hand onto your bench, discard the top 2 cards, and then you can take an energy discard pile, attach it to it. 30 damage times the amount of basic grass and lightning in play. Solid GX attack if you're just dead drawing. This is the most hyped card coming out of the set. I'm not sold on it yet personally. What I've said recently is that I think it's better post rotation, but then I remember I'm reminded that we don't have Max Elixir. So I don't think this card will actually be any good post rotation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Latios. Maybe if the meta's slow enough, as long as you don't prize your Latios, or maybe you play a Gladion even, it's like a little bit slower. You set up, you kind of set up the energy more, and then you get one attack off with Latios, and then that kind of does it all for you. You get one attack off with the Latios, and then you start swinging. Don't even need the Max Elixir potentially. Yeah, I think this card has potential. I haven't played around with it at all, so I'm not quite sure where it stands in the current standard meta. I think post rotation is probably just not good without Max Elixir. Right now, though, heading into Worlds, it has potential. I just need to mess around with it a little bit more to see actually how I personally feel about the card. Dunsparce, a lot of people talking about it. Once again, another card that's like, it's not good right now. Post rotation potentially. We'll see what the meta looks like if it's slow enough for the good old Dunsparce boy. Bad. Potential with this card in some kind of lock deck, but I don't actually ever put time or thought into those kind of decks. So as of right now, I have no idea what it would be good with. Delicati is actually super cute. Once again, too slow. Currently, post rotation has potential. Play to evolve a Pokemon during your turn. You may search your discard pile for up to 2 supporter cards. Like, that's just kind of good. It's like a 1/1 line. Post rotation could actually just be really good. If you're playing a deck with heavy draw, Palpad is probably better. I think Palpad is still legal. Yeah, Palpad is illegal. But in decks that don't have heavy draw, Delicati is actually could be very good. Once again, post rotation right now, I don't think it quite gets there. Becomes a multi-type Kecleon. The only thing you could really play this with would be like a Rainbow Road type deck, but even then, you think like Rainbow Road struggles enough with trying to get energy on its Rainbow Road attackers. So for this one, you'd have to somehow you'd have to first of all play unit energy, and then get it onto Kecleon, and then still somehow get energy onto your Rainbow Road attacker, and then attack with Rainbow Road. So probably just a bad card. I'm thinking probably just a bad card. Not quite there. One of them can discard the other card. Acro Bike, we're getting Acro Bike back. Reprint for Acro Bike. I think that's a good card. Potentially sees play in like a Turbo Rayquaza. Maybe that's it. Just potentially probably in a Turbo Rayquaza. I can't think of any other decks that would potentially play this card. Just Turbo Rayquaza. I think there are going to be multiple versions of Rayquaza. I think there's going to be like a lot of people are talking about Garb, which I didn't even really consider, but Garb Rayquaza. Turbo Rayquaza, which would play like the Acro Bikes, and there's probably going to be like a mid-range Rayquaza that kind of just chills, or like let's call it medium Rayquaza, where it just kind of chills and like sets up and then starts attacking, and it's a plan to just keep attacking from there on out. Turbo Rayquaza, Garb Rayquaza, Control Rayquaza with Garb, and then you have like the medium Rayquaza that just kind of chills. Apricorn Maker. Apricorn? Search deck for 2 item counters with ball in their name. Show them to your opponent. Put them into your hand. Kind of slow. I don't know what balls you'd ever search for. Get Beast Ball. This kind of seems way too slow. Once again, might have potential post rotation, but for going into Worlds, this card's bad. Beast Ball. I actually really like this card. As far as like decks that it would currently work with, would be definitely Buzz Garb, because in Buzz Garb, you need access to your Buzzwoles, first of all, and then you always kind of want access to your Baby Buzz and Buzz Garb. Whereas like something like a Buzz Rock plays 3 or 4 Baby Buzz. This Buzz Garb only plays 1. You really don't want to play more than 1 because you only ever utilize 1. It's just hopefully it's not prized, you know, when they go down to 4 prizes. So Beast Ball actually kind of fixes that. Also, if you like prize 2 Buzz GX, Beast Ball can also help with that. So I actually really like Beast Ball as a 1-of in Buzz Garb. No other decks currently do I really like it in, but definitely Buzz Garb. I'm a big fan of it in Buzz Garb. Especially because you also play Order Pad, so you can Order Pad for it. Get this and then play it. So yeah, big fan of this in Buzz Garb. There's not really many other decks. You'd probably from just cut a Nest Ball from the current list to add a Beast Ball. No other decks I can think of, or that I put thought into that I think you'd play this in. You definitely, I don't think you'd play it in Buzz Rock. You'll want, like, you don't really have room for it in Buzz Rock. But yeah, Buzz Garb card is very good, I think. Go down to Bill's Maintenance. Once again, post rotation potential. We need some kind of draw support. We're losing a lot of our draw support in the post rotation meta. Copycat, same thing. Probably not great right now. Might be okay as a 1-of, especially to play down against Zoroark decks. Once their hands get really big, you can match them with a Copycat. Still, though, the early game potential with it is so bad, like potentially so bad, that it's probably not worth playing. We'll have to see. I'll have to see personally as I test more if Copycat ever comes up as being a good card. Yeah, we'll just kind of have to see. Definitely post rotation, we'll probably be seeing a lot of it played because we're kind of limited on draw support post rotation. Energy Recycle System. Basic energy cards. You may either show 1 basic energy card to your opponent, put it to your hand, or 3. Opponent shuffle them into your deck. Worse than Super Rod, right? Yeah, just worse than Super Rod. Super Rod could just get Pokemon as well into your deck. Yeah, just worse than Super Rod. Energy Switch. It's Energy Switch. We'll see. Fisherman. It's Fisherman. Friend Ball. Potentially good, but not better than Ultra Ball. So if you're looking to add a ball past 4 Ultra Ball, has potential. And that also has to probably be past Timer Ball as well, or Evo Soda. So Friend Ball would have to be like super specific. So it's kind of unsure the potential of it. How? Actually worse than Bill's Maintenance. Being able to discard or shuffles one into your deck. Oh, okay. How might be better than Bill's Maintenance, actually. It's was it TV Reporter, I think we're getting. That's probably better. So yeah, how's better than Bill's Maintenance, I think. I don't think you ever want to shuffle a card back into your deck consistently over just draw 3. Of either your deck or your opponent's deck, and choose 1 card, shuffle the remaining cards back into your deck and put the top of that deck. Hiker. Oh, that's just weird. That's just a weird card. That's definitely just like potential for lock decks for sure. Probably not good enough because it's a supporter, so it's like super slow, but it's just kind of a lock card deck. The top 5 cards are either your deck or your opponent's deck. Choose 1 card, shuffle the remaining 5 back. That dig's pretty deep. That dig's 5 cards deep. So you just find, once you get your opponent's hand locked, you dig 5 cards deep off their top, 1 on top, and then the rest shuffle or bottom. Shuffle the remaining cards back to your deck, and then put the other one on top. Yeah. So you dig 5 cards deep to find 1 bad card. You find that 1 bad card, shuffle the rest of the deck, put the bad card on top. So that's actually a pretty hard lock if you can get like some kind of hiker lock going. I don't know how you would do it. But yeah, that's actually a the hiker lock is real. That's all I'm gonna say about that. The hiker lock is real. Hustle Belt, it's 30 or less. So this is Hustle Belt is good based on the meta and how matchups play out. So if it happens a lot where your Pokemon just have 30 or less HP, going into meta versus top meta decks, depending on whatever deck you're playing, it doesn't matter what deck you're playing. If the deck you're playing ends up with your Pokemon having 30 or less HP in testing against the top meta decks, then Hustle Belt is good for your deck. And that's kind of just how you have to decide if you should play Hustle Belt or not, because it is a pretty situational card. It has a lot of requirements to actually pull off its effect. Has a very situational effect requirement to pull off its effect. So that's all to sort of figure out if you ever want to play this card is just like take your deck that you want to play it against the top meta decks. If a lot of your Pokemon end up with 30 or less HP and the plus 60 damage would be relevant in those situations, that's when you add Hustle Belt to your deck. But besides that, the card it's definitely not going to be a consistent addition to decks. It's just the potential is there depending on how the deck you want to play fares against top meta decks. Last Chance Potion, same thing, same exact rules you want to apply to Hustle Belt, and when deciding if you want to play this. Life Herb, Um, it's a flip a coin, but like if you're playing a deck that just heals a lot, if you're playing like some kind of like like frying pan stack attack or Scizor GX frying pan deck, you're like taking way less damage, and then when you finally take enough damage where they can like KO you, you can play Life Herbs in that deck as well, and then you just heal it all. So potential, Life Herb has potential in a deck like that. Some cards. Lycia has potential. I don't think it's great though. Yeah, Liza. I don't know. I'm not even try. Has potential. I don't think it's great. It's definitely okay. Using your supporter turn to find Prism cards is kind of slow. But doing something like finding Beast Energy Diancie is pretty cool. But it feels like it's probably just too slow. Lure Ball, potentially better than Rescue Stretcher in some decks, like Greninja. But besides that, I don't see much use for this card. I actually don't know what kind of recovery we have post-rotation. If we don't have stuff like Super Rod, then this card could actually definitely be good. But definitely, the one thing I know this could have potential in is to replace Stretcher in Greninja. Masked Royal. When you say Chupoko on grass, fire, water. Not great. It's okay. Attach a basic energy card from your hand to one of your. Yeah, not. It's too slow. Yeah, not great. Pokénav. Or energy card you find and reveal it. Put it into your hand, put the remaining cards back in. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may choose a Pokemon or energy card. Reveal it, put it into your hand. Put the remaining cards back on top of your deck in any order. It's an item, so it actually has potential, but digging 3 cards deep is pretty inconsistent on actually finding anything you'd ever need. So probably just bad, but depending on the deck has potential. I guess I'll say that. Rainbow Brush. Put a basic energy and switch it with an energy card. So this is good in like decks that would take multiple basic energy. You can take a special energy off and replace it for a basic energy as well. You just can't find a special energy out of your deck. So in any decks that play like multiple different basic energy, this could be good potentially. Rare Candy, it's Rare Candy. This is my, so here we go. Shrine of Punishments. This is my favorite card coming out of the set for sure. Between turns, put 1 damage counter on each GX and EX Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's in between turns. Or between turns, put 1 damage counter. I missed the first part. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this card. It has immediate effect. Like if you play it on your turn, going into their turn, they'll take the damage. So I'm pretty sure I would like to be the one who comes up with it, but I'm positive there will be a tier 1 deck going into Worlds that plays 4 copies of this card and plays like maybe 1 or 2 Tapu Lele. I'm a big fan of this card. I think it's just good, and I think it can be abused really easily. You just don't play GXs or EXs of your own, and yeah, I think this card's good. I personally want to be the person to come up with the best deck with it, but I definitely think there's a tier 1 deck potential out there for this card. Sky Pillar. This card is actually pretty cool. So it protects both bench Pokemon from. Wait, let me read this again. All bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponents, aren't affected by damage or effects from attacks of an opponent's Pokemon. Yeah. So this card is actually pretty cool. It shuts down stuff like Trevenant Break, mostly in expanded. Protects the damage from like Coco. It's kind of just a cute card to play. I mean, if your deck has trouble with that kind of stuff, you can play Sky Pillar. It's not great because it's a stadium card, which means it can just be bumped on their turn before they attack, but it has potential. Depending on what matchup you need it for, and then like if they don't just play stadiums or a lot of stadium removal, then you can stick it and then it works. Steven's Resolve. This card's pretty bad, but it does combo with the Metagross. I think the only time you'd ever play this is in that Metagross deck, and even then, I don't think it's quite good enough. But I guess it has potential. Super Scoop Up. It's Super Scoop Up. Switch. It's Switch. Titan Liza. Not good right now, but I think post rotation this card will have potential. Just being able to also switch your Pokemon. But again, we don't have a lot of draw power. We don't have a lot of draw power post rotation. TV Reporter. Draw 3 cards and discard a card. I think this is better than how, or what's it called? Just being able to discard a card to like thin your deck and stuff is better than not, because you definitely just want to thin your deck more. I mean, we don't have a ton of hand disruption, so maybe it's not as good as I think. The only hand disruption post rotation is Judge. I mean, going into Worlds, this card will not be played. There's no reason to not play Sycamore or Cynthia over this card. But post rotation, it's possible this card will become a staple in draw support. We'll have to see. Draw 3 cards and card card. Yeah, it's possible this will become like a staple draw supporter. We'll have to see. I'm not sold, but it's definitely potential that this card is just heavily played. Underground Expedition. Didn't we? Go ahead and put them into your hand. Put the remaining cards back on the bottom of your deck in the order. You get to see 4 cards deep. So this card is actually not bad. So you get to see 4 cards. So TV Reporter lets you draw 3 cards. So you get to see 3 cards. Underground Expedition lets you see 4 cards, and you just get 2 of them. So actually, Underground Expedition, I think, is better than TV Reporter. Seeing that extra card, so you get 1 less card overall, but you get to see a plus a card, and then you get to choose any of the 4. So you get 2 of 4, as opposed to 3 of 3. So I think Underground Expedition might just actually be better than something like a TV Reporter or a How. But then it's like worse than something like a Sycamore or a Cynthia. But we lose Sycamore, we still have Cynthia. But I think actually Underground Expedition might be better than stuff like TV Reporter or How. It just kind of depends on if you're looking for just cards in general, or if you're looking for cards of a certain value. So if you're looking for cards of a certain value, and you need those cards, Underground Expedition is better. If you're just looking for cards in general, no matter what they are, you just want more cards, which is just kind of how some decks operate. You just like, I just want to see more cards constantly. Then something like TV Reporter is better because you get that extra card. Yeah, and then Rainbow Energy. Rainbow Energy is Rainbow Energy. I don't think there's much to say on that. I think down here we just have full arts, and yeah, so that's gonna do it for my set review, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, all the links for all my stuff is in the description down below. Twitch stream, follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing more of these. I mean, every set, I think I'm gonna be doing one of these. So stay tuned for that. Next video you see on the channel will probably be a VOD review of NAIC again. I'm gonna keep grinding through those, try and get all those rounds done as soon as possible. Get those videos out as soon as possible. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day and peace.